Hello. I would like to welcome you this morning to Crosspoint Community Church. My name is Mr. Robert Poe.
And I am Mr. Nathaniel Grayson.
And I am Mr. Brandon Conrad. And this is the Perfect People version of the Need to Know.
And if you are wondering what our goal is here at Crosspoint Community Church, it is to lead people to be passionate followers of Christ.
If you were curious upon the boxes when you came in, on your left and on your right, they're TOM. TOM simply stands for Tithes, Offerings, and Missions. This is simply how we take offering here at Crosspoint Community Church. Thank you.
If you have ever given to Crosspoint Community Church, you can pick up your giving records out at the welcome table at the end of service.
Tonight is Super Bowl Kid Stuff. It starts at 6:30.
Today, we will be starting a 4-part series called No Perfect People Allowed. No perfect people? Huh. That's nonsense. So I advise you to come for our 4-part series. No Perfect People Allowed.
That would be all we have on the Need to Know this week. If you need more information, stop by the welcome table on your way out. Or check out our website, crosspointonline.net. Here you can check out what's really going on around the church. Now, here's a brief summary of what's going on this week.
Don't you want to give a little clap? Very nice, very nice. I am on, right? Okay, great. Thank you. As you can tell, I am feeling very perfect this morning. But anyway, we want to welcome all new-time guests. Welcome to church in a completely new and wonderful way, where we are here to become passionate followers of Jesus Christ. And I hope you have fun. And I hope you find Jesus in a new and wonderful way. First of all, did anyone come in the Perfect People entrance? No one else? No one else came in the Perfect People? Am I the only one? All right, Madison, high fives. Air high five, yes. So kind of look around. As we gain momentum on the series, No Perfect People Allowed, you're going to see more things to do. And we'll probably stop you next week and want your picture. So please allow us to do that. Give us some great faces, okay, of all your perfect faces. That'd be great. Don't forget, tonight is Kid Stuff, and it's the Super Bowl of Kid Stuff. So come on, bring your kids. Even if you don't have kids, it is such a great time. I'm looking forward to it. Tonight at 6:30. I'm always here at 6, but it's 6:30, right? Okay, 6:30, Kid Stuff. Don't miss it. And we welcome you here for our new series, No Perfect People. And so I guess since none of us are perfect, we're all at the right spot. So stand up, shake each other's hands, welcome each other here to service this morning.
My parents say I'm on a journey. Like when they get together with their friends, that's the phrase they use to describe me, on a journey. It's like I'm some random traveler wandering around, trying to find myself. It's ridiculous. Just because I don't believe what they do doesn't mean that I'm on a journey.
So we're out to dinner one night. It's Friday night. It's been a long week. We're at her favorite restaurant. We're about halfway through the meal. I'm enjoying my food, looking out the window, and all of a sudden she leans in and she asks, "Why are you so unhappy?" Why am I so unhappy? What a question. It's been a long week. I was tired. Really, I just wanted to go home. And she's asking me if I'm happy. I tried to ignore it at first, but then she asked me again, and I knew I was going to have to respond.
I woke up the other day, and I had a big, long list of things I wanted to do, like clean the house, go out with friends for lunch. I think I had a bunch of errands that I needed to run. But, I just didn't want to do anything. It just didn't mean anything. It didn't matter. And then I got to thinking, maybe I'd like to just stay in bed today. Do you think anybody's here? I don't think anybody I know is here if I stayed in bed all day. It all started one year when I came home on break from college. You see, I didn't go to church when I went to college. My parents dropped me off, and I had no intention whatsoever of ever stepping foot inside church. I didn't see the importance it had. I didn't think it related to me. So, when I came home, my parents expected that I would be at church. I didn't show up. I just stayed in bed. When they came home, they questioned, "Why didn't you come?" My answer, "I don't believe it." They then asked, "Which part?" At that moment, I knew they didn't get it. So now, we fight. They mostly tell me how wrong I am, and they continue to ask, "Why don't you believe?" So now, they tell their friends that I'm on a journey. I guess that's fine if that's what they need to tell themselves.
So she asked again, "Why are you unhappy?" Like any good husband, I said, "I am happy, but if we get dessert, I'll be a lot happier." So we eat dessert. I actually avoid the argument, and we go home. She goes to bed as usual. I'm sitting up late watching some TV, dozing off. And I realize, it's about time to go to bed. But then I think to myself, I'm supposed to meet some guys next week to play some golf, so I better get it on our schedule. So I pull out the calendar, and I'm looking at the stuff we've got coming up for the next 2 weeks, and I'm like, there is nothing on here I want to do. Nothing. Not that it's bad stuff. It's just, if I was going to make a list of things I wanted to do, none of that's going to be on it. And I get to thinking, with all this stuff coming up in the next 2 weeks, maybe I really am unhappy.
I just came down for the weekend, and they brought the grandchildren. I love to see the grandchildren. That's my favorite part. It brings back memories when I went to my grandma's house, and we had such good fun. We played with our cousins, and we ran here and ran there. I just absolutely loved it. I started feeling kind of weird. My kids and grandkids, they don't need me anymore. They call because that's the thing to do to make me happy. But they don't call and ask me questions. They don't call and get my help. They just are kind of there. Now my kids, they're raising the kids, so I don't have anything to do there. I love being a grandma, but I don't have a purpose. What's my purpose? What does it matter?
This is John chapter 14. And it says this. It says, "Do not let your hearts be troubled. Trust in God, trust also in me. In my Father's house are many rooms. If it were not so, I would have told you. I am going there to prepare a place for you. And if I go and prepare a place for you, I will come back and take you to be with me, that you also may be where I am. You know the way to the place where I'm going." Let's pray before we start this morning. Lord, I thank you for the fact that we can just gather here today. And Lord, I ask that our hearts and our minds and our ears would be open to you, that you would speak clearly to us this morning, that we would push out all the other distractions and all the things that can consume our minds, and and we would just let you speak to us, that we would be open and honest with ourselves about where we are, about where we're struggling, about the things that we're really dealing with. And we trust that your word will just be true this morning. And we pray this in your son, Jesus' name. Amen. There is something about that song that it's, I don't know, it kind of hits you at a deeper level. For me, I am a person that I like music, but I like music that says something. I am not, and I understand some of you, this may be you, I am not the person who likes to sing the na-nas and the la-las and the hey-heys and the oohs and all those. Like, to me, it's like it's got to have something deeper. I mean, there's got to be something there. And that's what that song does for me. And I think that's what makes it so popular, is that it kind of grips us somewhere a little bit deeper. And it's not just, oh, that's nice. It's, I feel that. The best way that I could give an illustration on this in terms of how music does that is, have you seen the movie The Jerk? Has anyone seen The Jerk? Which I know that's just like a rough transition to go from one to the other. The Jerk starts out with this. It's a movie starring Steve Martin, and he's adopted by a black family, and he doesn't know that he's not black. And so the opening line of the movie is, "I was born a poor black child," which it was like, I just heard that, I was like, this is going to be my favorite movie. I love this. I tried to put that in some bios that I did, but they didn't like it so much. They didn't get the joke. But the movie starts out, and he's on the front deck with his all-black family, and they're playing music, and it's not white people music. And so as they're playing along, he's kind of trying to join in, and he's trying to stomp his foot with the rhythm of the thing, and he can never get it, and he's there, and he's trying to clap, and it doesn't quite work. And then about halfway, or a little bit into the movie, he's in his room, and he still doesn't really know that he's white, and some bluegrass comes on the radio, and he starts snapping in rhythm, and he's going, "Mom, what's happening?" Like, I get this music, this is me. And when I hear that, that's how I feel. And I know that's a really awkward thing to have it on either end. But as I hear that song, and I think, that's what I feel. That's deeper. And if you listen to the words of the song carefully, it describes a man who's on a journey. And it says, "I've tried this, and I've looked for this, and I've done all these different things." And it talks about what he believes and the sacrifices that he's made. And he gets to the very end of it, and he says, "I still haven't found what I'm looking for." And I think what resonates there for me, and I think what resonates for us, is we can really identify with that. That idea of being on a journey and not being able to find what you're looking for. Because I think for most of us, we could acknowledge that, at one point in time in our lives or another, we've been on a journey. We've been searching for something. And I don't think we would necessarily in the moment go, "Oh, that's me. I'm on a journey. I'm just looking." we don't use language like that. But it's very obvious that we're searching for something. And I don't think we could really pinpoint it and go, "This is what I'm looking for. This is exactly what I'm searching for." But I think if we were really open and honest, we would say, you know what, at many different times in our lives, we've been searching, we've been looking. And I know this is going to be way overly simplistic, and I'm acknowledging that this morning. But as I've listened to people's stories and as I've watched people's lives, when I hear people talk about what they're looking for, what they're searching for, the journeys that they've been on, it usually comes down in one of three categories. And again, I know this is way too simplistic for it, but this is the only way that I can make sense of it. That at the end of the day, we're looking for one of three things. We're looking for significance, truth, or happiness. And we search at different points in times in our lives. And if I imagine if you look back on your life, you could go, you know what, at this stage, you know what, that's more me. Yeah, I can, something wasn't right, and I wouldn't have necessarily said it in those words, but I was looking for one of those things. And those are kind of the three categories of what we're looking for, the three things. And what happens is we take that category of what we're looking for, and we fill it up with all the different things in terms of what we think that will look like. And so I just kind of have some main questions here that I think for people who are on the journey in terms of significance, the biggest question they're asking themselves at that point in life is, does it matter? Does this have value? Is this important? As I've heard people's stories, I think this usually hits us later in life, during your 50s and beyond. That it's kind of like, I've done all this stuff in my life, I've done all these different things, but maybe what do I really have to show for my life? And it's kind of I want to do something that has value, that's more than anything else. And it may hit us at different stages, but by and large, I've seen that happen the most as we get older. This is the best example I've seen of this is Bill Gates. Bill Gates, who was CEO, founder for a while of Microsoft, and one of the richest men in the entire world, when he hit about 50, 55, he just retired. And he said, I'm done. I know I've got all this money. I'm going to go try to eradicate malaria. When I hear stories like that, I think, here you've done incredible things. And he goes, I want to do something that's going to make an eternal difference. I want to do something that's going to change lives for thousands and thousands of years. And it's interesting, there's a number of different speeches of him online talking about it. And I know I'm going to kind of make fun of Bill Gates here for a little bit, but if you would listen to him speak while he was the CEO of Microsoft, he was very dry, very calculated. I mean, he's exactly what you would think of when you think of a computer geek. But if you listen to him speak today about the things that he's involved in, he's excited and he's passionate because he feels like now he's doing something that's significant. And I think many different times in our life we go, I just want to do something. I'm searching for something that matters. And we fill that up with all the different things that we think, it's got to be this and it's got to do that. And we can't really put our finger on it. We say, I just want to do something that matters. The second thing that I think we're searching for is truth. And I think the central question when it comes to this is simply, is it real? This is not, and I know this is going to be, this is one of those things that you either feel it or you don't. And so I know as I'm talking about this, some of you are going to go, oh, yeah. And others of you, no matter how long I explain this for you, are going to go, I have no idea what he is talking about. And that's okay. But you're looking for something that's real. This is not 2 + 2 is 4, yes, we all agree. That's great. It's not, yeah, these are the facts. The search that you're looking for here is it real for me? This isn't just like fake. It's not just going to, it's real. The biggest way that I can show this is in the last 10, 15 years, we have seen this ridiculous explosion of reality television. And I know we all dabble in bits and parts there, but the most common audience for reality television is the younger generations. And I think they've kind of made a statement of like, we don't want scripted drama. We want real drama. I mean, real life has enough drama as it is. We don't want actors going through the motions. We want to see real life. And that's the search there. Not necessarily is it true, but is it real? As you listen to college students talk about their faith, one of the things that I hear more often than any other is, I don't want my parents' faith. And it's not that they don't believe it. And that's maybe where it gets hardest. It's not that they don't believe it. It's I want something that's real for me. I agree, you're right. But I just want something that's real for me. And that's one of the searches that we're on. And then I'd say the last search that we're on of the three is for happiness. And the central question here is simply, do I enjoy it? Do I enjoy it? I think this usually hits us more in the middle stages of life. We know we're doing something significant. We know we're doing something real, but it's not always enjoyable. There's a lady who was part of a church that I was involved in, and she was working with the college students, and she was amazing. She did such a good job with them. She just poured her life out into them. And she had a husband. She had a couple of younger kids. And after she had done this for a number of years, she just got up and moved like 30 minutes south and got an apartment on her own. And it was the craziest thing. It's the last person who you would ever think would do this. And when people asked her about it, her response was just, I'm just not happy. I know I'm doing something significant. I know it's real. I'm just not happy with my life. And here's the thing. As you look at those three different categories of pursuits that we have and the journeys that we have, I know my response when I hear stories like that. My initial feeling when I hear somebody go, I just want to find something that's real, or I just want to be happy. I mean, I really want to, and I think this through in my head. I think, you know what, if I could just take them and sit them down and tell them to get their act together and just go, here's the deal. You need to do this. Suck it up. And it's like, I know that's why I don't do hardly any counseling at all, because that does not make for good counseling. But honestly, that's what I feel. And I hear somebody and they'll go, I'm searching, I'm looking. And they don't necessarily use those words, but that's exactly what they're saying. They're saying, I'm searching for something. And I just want to be like, just do it. Come on. And I know at many different times you feel that way too. That as you see people and it's all of a sudden they're making different decisions than they've made in the past. And you see them maybe start to travel down a road. And you're just going, what are you doing? Just get it together. Because that's usually the response that we have. And that's where the idea of the series, No Perfect People Allowed, came out of. I think the first surface level thing that we think of when we hear that is that idea that to come to church, to be a part of church, you have to have your act together. I mean, you have to dress right. You have to know when to stand. You have to know when to sit. You have to be able to sing the right notes. You have to bring your Bible. The bigger the Bible, the better. That means you've really got your life together. And it's kind of, we think through all those different things, that's what it means to be a part of church. That you have to be perfect. And we're going to get to that. We're going to get to that later on this series, and we've got some important stuff that we're going to cover there. But I want to deal with something before we ever get there. And that is, I just say that's the underlying motivation to all this. The whole, I have to dress right, sound right, I have to act like everything in my life is okay, smile. When someone says, how are you doing? You say, I feel blessed. I mean, we'll get there. That's the surface level stuff, though. I want to talk about that underlying thing of just the idea that, you know what, we're searching, we're looking. And normally whenever we encounter those people who just say, I'm searching for something, I'm looking for something, our first response is just to go, get it together. Quit searching. Believe this, do this, know this. And the important thing that we've got to understand is that was not Jesus' response. His response was entirely different. If you have your Bible, open it up to John chapter 14. John chapter 14. And we're going to see an incredible example of how Jesus addresses a group of people who were on a journey. And we're only going to cover 6 verses this morning, so we are going to move through them very slowly. And he starts with this. John chapter 14, verse 1. This is Jesus speaking to his closest friends, the group of people who have been with him all along. And he says this. He says, do not let your hearts be troubled. Trust in God. Trust also in me. And it's very important. We're going to identify why he has to tell them not to be troubled in just a second. But you've got to understand at the very beginning, the disciples here, they're on a journey. His closest friends, the people who've been following him, they are on a journey. The journey that they were on is they were looking for the Messiah. Now, they had a category of what they believed the Messiah was, because this promise had been given to their people thousands of years ago. They say, the Messiah's coming, your job is look for the Messiah. And so that's what they're searching for. If somebody says, hey, what are you looking for? What's the journey that you're on? They wouldn't be like us today. They wouldn't go, well, I'm just looking for something that's... They would go, we're looking for this. And in the category of Messiah, they had a lot of things that they knew what it was. They knew that the Messiah was going to be a king. They thought the Messiah was going to be a general, that he was going to lead armies. They, at the current time, they were occupied by Rome, their region. And so they thought the Messiah was going to overthrow Rome and establish them as kind of the world-dominant power, that they would be the most powerful nation in the world. And so as they're looking for this person who they said was the Messiah, they had a category of everything they believed that was fitting that search. And what happens that's really important is right before Jesus tells them not to be troubled, he does 3 things. First of all, he's with them, and he bends down and he washes their feet. Now, to wash someone's feet, we don't really, that sounds gross today. Okay? But these guys walked everywhere and wore sandals. And so, if you think that's bad today, it was, there's just no comparison. Even, and you may not know this, even for Brandon Conrad. So, You can get real witness to that later if you'd like. You got to understand that there were people who their dedicated job was to wash people's feet. This was about as low as you could possibly get. And so they had this man who, in their category of what they were searching for, he was the king. He was going to be as high as it gets, and all of a sudden he's washing feet. And then after he gets done washing their feet, he tells them he's going to die. And people are going to take me away, and they're going to kill me. And then he looks at them, he looks at Peter, who was kind of their leader, and he says, and you're going to deny that you ever knew me 3 times. And so they're sitting there, and they've got this person, they've got this thing they've been searching for, this Messiah, and they think Jesus is it. And then all of a sudden he washes their feet, which was not what a king did. He says he's going to deny, and he says that their leader is going to deny them. And so what he does is he shakes up this category of Messiah, and they're kind of really, really troubled. And so after he tells them, don't let your hearts be troubled, he says this, and this is not going to make much sense now, but it's really important. In verse 2, he says, in my Father's house are many rooms. If it were not so, I would have told you. I am going there to prepare a place for you. And if I go and prepare a place for you, I will come back and take you to be with me, that you also may be where I am. Now that sounds really confusing, but the context of that is so incredibly important. What would happen in this day and age, their culture, is if you wanted to get married, you would have that engagement period. You would kind of say, yeah, we intend to get married. And what we do today is then you exchange a ring. And that's kind of a sign of commitment, though. Okay, so we're going to get married. Everybody knows I've got a ring on my finger. Just in case if you're checking my ring, my wedding ring broke. I'm getting another one, so you're not getting worried. Yikes. But that was completely different in this culture. What would happen is that the groom-to-be, he would go to his parents' house, and he would build a room onto his parents' house. That was just their custom. So you would go to your parents' house, you'd build a room, and that's where your family would live. And so you kind of have that exchange of, yeah, okay, well, that's good. And then he would say this. He would say, okay, I'm going to prepare a place for you. I'm going to come back and take you to be with me, and then we'll be married. So what Jesus is using here is he's using wedding language, and it's a sign of the commitment that he had to each one of them. And so this is really unique, that for us today, we read that and we kind of go, but you're also going to be, what? And the disciples are sitting here and they're going, what's going on? And then he says something at the end that would have been really confusing. Verse 4. He says, you know the way to the place where I am going. Now, I just want to imagine for us here today, you're on a search. I know you are. And you may not go, I'm on a search for this. But you're looking for something. We all are at different points in time. And I don't know if it's truth or happiness or significance. I don't know what it is. But it's like Jesus comes to you, and you're going, I don't know, I'm just looking for something. And Jesus goes, you know what to do. And we would go, what? No, I don't. I promise. You know the way. And that's what Thomas right here does. He kind of gives us a voice. In verse 5, it says, Thomas said to him, Lord, we don't know where you are going, so how can we know the way? It's like, okay, I'll be the dumb one and ask the question that everybody's thinking. They're like, what are you talking about? Because this doesn't make sense. And then Jesus says something next. It says, Jesus answered. And what he says here is so incredibly significant, and we're going to spend the rest of the morning talking about this. He steps out of the category, because they had a category of what they were looking for in terms of the Messiah. And he steps out of the category, and he changes the conversation to something completely different. And this is what he says. He says, I am the way, and the truth, and the life. I am the way, and the truth, and the life. So let me put this in context one more time. They were looking for a category of something. They had a list of all the different things that would make sense in that category, like we do today. I want to do something that makes me happy, and I believe it will be these things. I want to do something or be a part of something that's significant, and I believe it will be these things. And Jesus goes, I know you're looking for the category. And it says, I am the way, and the truth, and the life. And this is the only way that I can make sense of it. We make categories when we want to make important decisions. Let's say you're buying a car, for instance, which is a very important decision. So you go, okay, that's it. Car's broke down, or we need a new one, or I just have lots of money lying down around, and that's what I want to do with it. So you say, I want to buy a car. And so what you do is you fill your category with all the different things that you think a car should be. It's got to be this color, it's got to have this gas mileage, and so you've got that great list there, and then this is what you do. You go on a search, and you start looking for the car. And once you find a car that fits everything in your category, you buy the car, and you're happy. And it's a great way for making decisions. It works for cars, it works for houses. Let's say it's something as insignificant, I need a new shirt. I need a shirt, it needs to be long sleeve, it needs to be this color, and this size. Once I find the shirt, and this price range. Once I find the shirt that fits the things in my category, then I'll buy that shirt. And it really is. It's a great way for making decisions. But here's the problem, is we try to take that very, elementary way of making decisions, and when you apply it to things that are more significant, it falls apart. Let's say, for instance, you're looking for a spouse, and you fill your category with all the things that the spouse should do. I really wanted to put resale value on there, but I thought that might be taking it too much. Okay, go to the next list. Go to the next list. There we go. You fill your category with all the different things that you want your spouse to be. We refer to it like this. We say, my type. We say, she or he is not my type. What we're saying there is saying, I've got a category, I'm searching for that, and I know exactly what it's going to be like. Okay, moment of honesty, and I need you to stay with me. Okay, don't respond at first. Please, I just beg of you. If I were to be really honest with you and say everything, I did not put my own stuff up there, but if I was going to say everything that was in my category, Bethany would not fit most of it. If I was just really honest, and I told you at 12, 18, let's just go further up. If I told you at 18, this is my category, this is my type, and we matched it up with Bethany, she would not fit the vast majority of things on that. But here's the important thing that you've got to get, is that once I met her, category didn't matter. Because I was not looking for a category of things. I was looking for a person. And that's what Jesus is doing right here with the disciples. He looks at them and they go, we've got this list of all the things that we think that we're looking for. And Jesus goes, he shakes it up. And that's what's so awesome is he goes, let me wash your feet. And they go, this doesn't fit. And he goes, I'm going to die, and you're going to deny me. And they're going, this doesn't fit. We were looking for this, and all of a sudden it's not matching up. So he shakes up their category, and then he steps out of it. And he goes, you think you're searching for this. And he says, what you're really searching for is me. And he says, I am the way and the truth and the life. And this is what I believe. I believe that often, throughout our lives, we're searching for something. I believe most of us fall into one of those three things, and we're saying, I'm searching for significance, or I'm searching for truth, or I'm searching for happiness. I'll be really honest. That's not what you're searching for. What you're searching for is a person. And that person is Jesus. And you can fill that category up with 1,000 different things of what you're really looking for and try to pinpoint and say, this is exactly it. And the issue is that's not what you're looking for. What you're looking for is Christ. And here's the beautiful thing that is so significant, is that when you find Him, you find what it is you were really looking for. It starts off with this, and I think it's so significant to us today that he does. He says, first of all, I am the way. You're looking for significance in your life, you're looking to make an impact. I'll show you how to live. I'm the only one who can show you how to live a life that has significance. This next, you're looking for truth. I'm the truth. There's nothing more real than me. There is not an ounce of fakeness in my entire being. It's true for you. Because I'm as real as it gets. And then last of all, he says, and I am the light. Now, I need to explain this one for a second. I think we, I don't know, I think we lie to ourselves when we say that we're looking for happiness. And just in terms of this, if I'm eating candy, I'm happy. I mean, I'm good. And 5 minutes later, I may not be happy. And so, like, the happiness thing, it's a moment by moment in terms of what I'm doing. What we're looking for deeper is a life that we can enjoy. A life that, I don't know, that you wake up and you just don't go, it's another day. A life that it's like, this is good. And Jesus says, I can show you that life. I used to, when I was a youth pastor, I used to tell teens all the time, I said, there's two types of people in the world. There's a type of people who are looking for that thing that will make them happy. Who are looking for that thing. They say, if I can only do this, or if I can only be that, or if I can only be in this position, or be with this person, or live here, then I would be happy. I said the other type of person is the person who's just happy, who just enjoys life no matter what it is they're doing. I had a friend in college, his name was Matt. Matt was one of the weirdest kids I ever knew, but I loved Matt. He was awesome. And I remember in one class we were talking about our strengths, and we were supposed to have this discussion about the things that we were good at, and everybody was being very, high opinioned of themselves. Well, I'm really good at organization. You give me that, I can do whatever. I'm really good. I've got great people skills, or I'm a really good speaker. And Matt wasn't saying anything, and finally the teacher called, well, Matt, what's your strength? And he goes, if you got a pile of rocks or bricks, and you need to move from there to like 50 feet away, I said, I'm your guy. He goes, not a lot of people can do that. And I know it doesn't sound great, but he goes, I could do it, and I would love every minute of it. And I thought that's it. It doesn't matter what I'm doing. I've got life. I'm enjoying it. And here's the thing that we don't get, is that so often we think we're looking for the category of things when we're really looking for Jesus. And here's the thing. When you find Jesus, you find what it was that you were looking for all along. And we spend our whole lives on this search for this thing that's just, it's just up in the air and we can't quite grasp it. And Jesus is there going along and he's going, you're not looking for a category, you're looking for me. And if you find me, if you actually search for me, you'll find what it is you've been looking for. It's so incredible. I am the way, the truth, and the life. And I think our one pushback on this is sometimes we go, yeah, I tried that, and it didn't quite work. Or I gave it a shot, and it wasn't what I was looking for. And I've heard that many times, and I think the key thing there is the language that people use. I tried it. I gave it a shot. There's two ways to get into a pool. The first way is you go in the shallow end, and you put a foot in, and you let your body adjust, and then you go in a little bit deeper, and you let your body adjust until you're about waist deep, and it takes you about 5 or 10 minutes, and you're there. The other way to get into a pool, the much more fun way, I might add, is to just go all out and dive in the deep end like a crazy person and submerge yourself, and then your body adjusts in a second. Jesus doesn't give us the option of going in the shallow end. That's really important. He doesn't give you the option of saying, hey, just stick a foot in. Try it out. Let's see if you like me. And if you don't, in 6 months, you can return me, and it's no problem. He never gives us that option. He says, here's the deal. You want truth? You want significance? You want life? You want happiness? You want something you can enjoy? What you're looking for is me. And he says, the only way to do it is to jump all in. You don't get the option of saying, I'm going to follow him with 10% of my life. He says, it's 100% or it's nothing. there's no in between. I want to tell you, I have never in my entire life met the person who said, I'm all in, I'm jumping in the deep end, who regretted it. Not a single time. I've met thousands of people who tried to stick a foot in and said it didn't work, and they brought it back out, and they're still searching for something. The man who wrote that song, who is quite famous, Bono, that we sang at the beginning, I still haven't found what I'm looking for. About 10, 15 years after he wrote that song, describing the search and the journey, he wrote another song titled Magnificent. And the first words to this song are not the important ones. This is just the setup. He says, I was born to be with you in this space and time. After that and ever after, I haven't had a clue, only to break rhyme. This foolishness can leave a heart black and blue. I want to be real clear. He's still describing a journey. He's describing difficulties and hardships within that journey, but then it gets to the chorus, and these are the words. Only love can leave such a mark. But only love can heal such a scar. It was really interesting. At a conference that I was at a couple of years ago, I had an opportunity to hear an interview with him, with a pastor. And he described that in between the time that he wrote those two songs, his life just did some incredible things. He got involved with Bill Gates and his movement to eradicate malaria. He got incredibly involved with the AIDS movement and calling attention and education to it. And so he was doing something very significant. And as he talked about those different things, he talked about the role that faith was beginning to play in his life. And he talked a lot about how he read the New Testament and how he listened to the words of Jesus. But that's the life that he was looking for. Did you see the difference between those two lyrics? Still haven't found what I'm looking for. To only love. And this is my encouragement to you this morning. We're going to talk a lot more about this no perfect idea over the next few weeks. But if you're searching, if you're looking, if you're on a journey, you may even not know what it's for. You may not even know what you're looking for at the end of the day. I encourage you to do this. Not to try this. Not to stick your foot in the shallow end, but to jump all in and to go all out and say, I'll follow you. Because I know at the end of the day, you're the way, and you're the truth, and you're the life. Let's pray. Father, I ask that this morning that just in this moment right now, Lord, that you would allow us to be very, very clear and open and honest with ourselves about what it is that we're looking for. That we would have the courage and that you would give us the clarity that if we're on that journey, if we're searching for something, you would show us what that is. That we wouldn't tell lies to ourselves and say it's this or it's that. But it would be very clear and open and obvious to us. And Lord, I pray that with that knowledge, that we would have the courage to follow you. That we would have the courage to stop the search and to look for you. And we know that as soon as we do that you'll find us. And you'll show us what this life is all about. And God, I just want to pray. I want to pray for the person here who is hearing this. And they said, I've tried that. The person who thought all along, did that once and it didn't work. God, I ask that you would give them the strength to go all in. Lord, I just pray that we would be a church, that we would be a people who just looked for you, no matter what it was that was going on, that we were just searching for you, and that we were following you with everything that we were. And that we would be a church that no one had to feel like they were perfect. No one had to feel like they had it all together. No one had to feel like they had everything figured out. But that we were just people following you. And I pray this in your Son, Jesus' name. Amen. Thank you very much for joining us this morning. If you'll stand, shake a hand to someone around you, and we'll see you here next week.